This is the News at 1 from ITN with Selina Scott.
Good afternoon. The Princess of Wales has gone into hospital and the birth of a royal baby is expected soon. Prince Charles is with her. Spain says it wants to postpone reopening the border with Gibraltar because of political problems. And there's fighting in Lebanon again as Israeli troops build up around Beirut and destroy 4 Syrian tanks. But first the news that the birth of a baby to the Princess of Wales is now imminent. The Princess was admitted to St Mary's Hospital in Paddington between 5 and 6 this morning in the early stages of labour. Prince Charles drove to the hospital with her and is now at her bedside. The surgeon gynaecologist to the Queen, Mr George Pinker, will attend the birth. The child will be second in line to the throne. Well, let's go over now to Sue Lloyd-Roberts, who's outside Buckingham Palace with a lot of well-wishers besides.
The flagpole without its flag here at Buckingham Palace indicates the Queen is not in residence. She left at about 9 o'clock this morning to fly to RAF Wittering with Prince Philip. Their official duties include watching a flying display. Everyone who saw her leave say the Queen looked happy and pleased today. She'll be kept in constant touch with the Princess's progress by means of a radio link on board their Andover. They're due back at Heathrow this afternoon at about 4:30. Of course, it's known the Queen would have preferred the Princess to have her baby here at the palace, but in the event, it's assumed the Princess bowed to medical opinion, known to favour a hospital confinement. There's been the usual crowd outside the palace today, mainly tourists, but among them a few Britons anxious to be among the first to see the formal posting of the official bulletin of the baby's birth on the main gates behind me. Sue Lloyd-Roberts, News at 1 at Buckingham Palace.
Well, the surgeon gynaecologist to the Queen, Mr George Pinker, who's attending the birth, has already delivered 7 royal babies as head consultant at St Mary's. One of the top 5 men in his profession, Mr Pinker, urged the royal family to go for a hospital birth, where all the latest backup equipment is available in case of emergency. Well, this from Martin Lewis.
George Douglas Pinker, Fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons, Fellow of the Royal College of Gynaecologists, and Surgeon Gynaecologist to the Queen. The man who's always in charge of the delivery of royal babies. The man, they say, would make a fortune giving lessons in the bedside manner. Although Mr Pinker, on the right here, likes to stay in the background in public, he's quite a personality inside the hospital. Before delivering one of Princess Anne's babies, he's alleged to have said, "Well now, Mrs Phillips, what's it going to be, a boy or a girl?" And when he had to perform a caesarean on the Duchess of Gloucester, it said he didn't forget to telephone his wife to say he'd be late for dinner. His customers speak highly of him, like singer Lulu, whose son Jordan was born in St Mary's.
He's wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful. You feel at ease with him as soon as you meet him. I think probably one of the marvellous things about him is that when you're all worried, you know, you've had a dream or you've been worrying about how it's all going to go, he makes light of things and he's got a wonderful sense of humour. So you always end up laughing when you go to visit him or when he comes to visit you in the hospital. And I think that's so important, you know, because if he's relaxed about it and he doesn't see any problem, then it makes you feel so much better.
The Lindo wing at St Mary's was donated by a builder, a Mr Frank Lindo, and was opened by the Queen Mother in 1937. It's in South Wharf Street, Paddington, a rather run-down area of sandwich bars, shops and small hotels in West London. The Princess has been to St Mary's before to visit friends. This time she's in a 12-foot square room decorated in pastel shades with basic furniture and a TV set in the corner. The cost £126.90 a day. Although the Lindo wing has a rather special reputation as the maternity rendezvous of the famous, it's not particularly special inside.
It's actually not impressive, you know, when you walk in there. It's not beautiful. And, you know, there are lots of hospitals in London that are very plush, like the plushest hotels or the most expensive homes. The Lindo wing is not like that at all. It's just like a hospital.
But Lulu does remember one moment which shows the Lindo wing is used by some rather stylish clients.
In my case, the first thing they said to me when I went to check in, you know, sort of, you know, waiting for this baby. Well, Mrs. Frieda, are you staying in for dinner this evening or are you going out? I said, I've come in here to have a baby and I'm not going out till I get one.
When the baby is born, he or she will automatically become second in line in succession to the throne, after the Prince of Wales himself. If it's a girl, she would stay second in line until a boy was born, and then he would take over. A private member's bill from Mr. Michael English to give a girl equal rights to a boy is still before the Commons, but has no chance of becoming law because of the lack of parliamentary time. And now let's go over to St Mary's in Paddington, where the Princess of Wales went there early this morning. There, waiting for us, is Sarah Cullen.
5 this morning, in the early stages of labour. She was accompanied by Prince Charles, who is still inside the hospital. The princess is in an ordinary room in this private wing. It's painted in pastel colours and is just 14 foot square. The Queen's gynaecologist, Mr. George Pinker, has been with her all morning. The princess had said she hoped her baby would be born on July the 1st, her 21st birthday, and she said she'd like it to be a boy. Well, all morning flowers have been arriving and a crowd has collected. And as you could imagine, rumours have been flying around. Every minute someone says the baby's been born, but we don't know anything yet. Well, would you like to see a boy or a girl?
Boy.
A boy.
Definitely.
What would you like it to be called?
David Charles Philip.
David Charles Philip. What about you, madam? Would you like to see a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Why would you like to see a boy?
I don't know, I just prefer to have a boy.
And what would you call it?
Charles Philip.
Charles, after his dad?
Yeah, after his death.
Me, a boy, Louis, Andrew, Frederick, George.
You'd like a boy? You wouldn't like, would you be happy with
I
a girl?
don't mind as long as it's got its health and strength. That's the main thing.
So, we're all waiting for the news. And now, back to the studio.
And obviously we'll bring you that news when we get